Today I'm gonna do a breakdown of my track Timeless Memory, which was released a few months ago. And this got some great support from a lot of DJs, and it actually got support from Proff in his Anjunakitchen Session. And this one also actually got into the top 10 of Beatport's organic house chart. So that's a really huge one. All right, let's get into it. So tidy project as always. Let's start with listening through the whole track. Right, I think that's it. Let's start with the drums as always. So, I mean, in this track, well, like in all my tracks, I would say like the drums is the most important thing, and this is nothing special either. So if we just listen to the whole drum groove first. Yeah, so first of all, we can do what I think is like the most important thing is the toms and follies and all that kind of sounds, and those sound like this. Yeah, and as I explained before, it's very important to really think about the like percussion melody, the drum melody, and choose which drum instrument you want to carry the drum melody forward, basically. So in this case, I would say like we have like these, maybe. Yeah. Yeah, maybe these, like dum 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 dum. That's basically like the drum melody, I would say. And as you can see here, I always name the most important percussion instruments in the original key. So here, for instance, you can see it's perc original B and perc 2 original B. So these are both in the key of B. And one way I determine the key of the percussion is easy, just by doing like, you can just loop one section of the percussion instrument like this. And then you can see where like the most of the percussion is hitting, and it's basically here at the B section here. So that's usually how I determine the key of the percussion. And I don't do this on all percussion instruments, just like the main ones that really carry the percussion melody, basically. And this track is playing in the G sharp major, I think. I think it's in G, yeah, exactly G sharp. So, and it's a major scale. So within the G sharp major scale, we have the B note. So that's fine, totally fine to have it in there. But as you can see, like this, for instance, for this kind of percussion instruments, they don't really have a tone, so I don't care about the actual key. This is just like Foley sounds. So like congas and bongos and those kind of percussion instruments who really carry like a tone, and you can like really hear the tone, and you can really isolate the tone with just putting like a Pro Q or some kind of EQ. Those kind of instruments I would care about actually get them in the right key, because you don't necessarily hear that they are in the wrong key, but as soon as you get them right, and especially when you start to play a melody with them, the key really matters, at least I think. But you can see here, and we have C here, and I think I have it, yeah, no transpose either, because C is also part of the scale here, and F, I think, yeah. So yeah, just make sure they are in the right key of the scale. yeah, so I mean, nothing crazy really. I just make sure that I have like a proper melody of some of the like congas and stuff, and then I fill out with some like Foley loops and stuff, just to get like it a little bit more interesting, basically. And one other instrument is really this low tom here. I think I will come back to it later when I explain all the low percussion instruments, because this one actually plays a huge role in like all the drum groove and how it plays with the bass sound. And yeah, so these are the percussion, like the mid percussion instruments. And then we have clap. This is nothing crazy. I have 2 claps basically. This was the original clap, and I had only this very for a long time while making the track. It was actually just in the end of the track. I thought that I needed a little bit more punch and a little bit more body, so I added a second clap, which is a little bit more punchy and has a little bit more body into it. So I'm using 2 claps, and these 2 claps are routed to clap bus, which I basically are doing some EQ. I have a bloom, the snare setting on the bloom, and as you may know, I really love the bloom plugin. I use it a lot, especially on drums. And then I have an enveloper just to control the tail of the sound just a little bit. Yeah, it's not a big one. And then the clap bus is routed again to a drum bus. And the drum bus is again a bloom. I use in the drum bus preset, adjusting all the frequencies just a little bit. And yeah, and also the drum bus, I have some filters, just because throughout the arrangement I'm filtering down the drums and filtering up, putting a reverb and stuff, so it's much easier if everything is on one bus. And also I love putting like the main instrument within each groups basically, or buses, because for instance for the drums, maybe when I'm doing the final mix down, I think like, okay, I want to increase the drums just a little bit, like the overall loudness of the drums. I can easily just adjust the volume here, or take it down, or do automation of the volume or filter or whatever. As you can see here, I'm doing the filter automation with a high cut. I'm increasing the reverb, and I'm also doing a low cut. So yeah, I'm a huge fan of having the main instruments within different buses basically. And the shakers and open hi-hats, I think it's nothing crazy really. Just, you can see here, this is a Lotus Tunes shaker. It's from the one of the Organic House packs, now the Daydream packs. Shaker loop 4, and then I'm using, you have seen me using this before, the shaker Shimmer Shake Strike 2, great plugin. And then I think I have a drum loop, yeah, and this is actually a stem from another track which I reused in this one. I think it has some nice like ear candies and stuff, like details. So these work really good together. And then I've put some details, like small like ear candies and extra hats and stuff. So you'll get some like really nice variation. And then I think I'm using 2 different open hi-hats, yeah. So this is the main open hat, and then I have another one which is almost like a ride. So basically like this, and then I have just a drum loop. And all together, the drums again sounds like this. I mean, when you look at it like this, it's really nothing crazy. This one is actually one of the, not easiest, because I spent a lot of time with these drums. As you can see here, it's take 15. I made 15 different versions of this, and I was actually working really much with the drums. But I mean, it wasn't easy to make, but it's kind of simple, you know? And that's usually how I do it. Like I put in a lot of stuff from the beginning, and then I scale back, and in the end I have maybe like half of the drums that I had in the first place, because you really want to leave room for all the other instruments also, and you want it to work with the melody, with the bass and everything. So it all depends. That's why I'm not a huge fan of using loops as my like finished loops for my main drums. I use them and I cut away what I don't want, and I create my own like drum melody around it. And I also can use loops to have like in the background. But I mean, for my main drum and my main percussion instruments, I don't want to use finished loops, because most likely it won't sound nice, and it won't work with the melody of the synth, the melody of the bass and everything. So that's why I like to create my own, yeah. All right, so that's basically the drums. And I think what I have more is that later on the big drop here, just to like increase the power, I have two different rides basically. So I have a ride like this. This is just a loop, and it's playing on the offbeat. So it's like a big open hi-hat basically, to really fill out everything and make it more driving basically. A longer offbeat hat makes like increase the drive of the track. And then I have a normal ride also, which I actually sidechained. So it plays like this. And this one basically is just a small taser. It's like fills out the space, and it's almost like an offbeat open hi-hat also, because it's sidechained. You can see here. Yeah. Yeah, so that's basically the drums. And as I mentioned before, I'm doing this like filter on the drums. So it's like this. This is actually a nice effect to really like build up to the drop and make the drop impact harder basically. That's a quite nice effect. I think that's everything for the actual drums. Next, I wanna talk a little bit about the bass and the low percussion instruments, like the toms. So we have a bass, which in the beginning is the same, basically the same progression. And the bass, this is like a normal sub bass basically. So what I've done is that from the beginning, it sounded like this. So I put on a high cut, and I think I have a filter just to be able to low cut it when I need it. But then I did some distortion, just a little bit, because you know, I wanted to have it like a sub bass, but I still want to hear a few more frequencies than just the sub frequencies. So sometimes I just put a tiny bit of distortion just to increase just to create some harmonics basically from the sub bass. yeah, and here you can see, so I put on a distortion just to bring out some high frequencies, but I don't want all of the high frequencies. I basically just want the mids. So I put on a hi-hat again after the distortion. And this is a direction mixer just to make sure it's in mono. Kick and bass always in mono, in my opinion. And then what I've done is I have the LFO tool just to sidechain to the kick. Nothing crazy. As you can see, I don't put on a lot of sidechain, even though this is a sub bass. I don't think you need to put the sub bass all the way down. I never do that. Not in this kind of genre. It really, I don't like the sound of it, basically. Some people like to sidechain a lot. I don't like it at all. I just use it as a tool to make enough room for the kick, basically. But then what I've also done is that I created some space, because we have this really easy low tom progression or pattern. But as you can see here, it's sidechained to the low tom. So every time the low tom plays, the sub bass goes down a little bit. You can see here. Yeah. Just to make more room for the actual tom. It's the same way as a kick. And this one actually plays a huge role, because the bass is pretty like static and straight. So in order just, I mean, this is very simple, just to put in a tiny like low tom here and there, but it's really like, it almost acts as a second bass, you know, like a second bass pattern. It really works great with the kick, like here. Like boom, 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 boom. So it's very easy, but one like this really simple trick really makes a huge difference, I think. And then I have these extra kicks, basically. So the double kick here, and just like an add kick, basically. And this is just like kicks, which I've high cut and done some easy, like some easy EQing. But so all in all, the bass and the low percussion, it sounds like this. And I mean, it's not like something crazy. It's not a huge detail, but it really makes a lot of difference. Because listen, if I don't have it, I would only have the kick and the sub bass. It would sound like this. And like this, and then we add back this. I mean, it instantly gives it a lot of more groove. And I think like small details like this, it feels like I'm talking about it all the time, but like don't underestimate the low percussion. It's so important. And make it work with the bass and the kick. Don't just put it in, it really needs to work with the bass melody. But I mean, I would say like these kind of details, it's these kind of details which takes the track to the next level, from like a decent sounding track to like a professional track. Like, of course, it's not only these kind of details, but it's one of them. So make sure to pay attention to details, and don't forget to put in the low percussions. It's very important. The bass and the like drum section is pretty easy, actually, nothing crazy. I think like this track really, what really makes this track is the melodies, the synths and the melodies. And it's basically the same melody throughout the whole track, almost. This lead pluck. So maybe I'll start with that actually. So the lead pluck melody sounds like this. And basically, it's two different synths, all serum, all from basic waves. So the first one, oh yes, exactly. No, it's the bound to the wide preset actually from Production Music Live. So nothing crazy really. It's I think I did some adjustment to the preset. I think I decreased the decay just a little bit, just to make it a little bit more plucky. And then I have two different delays actually. I just thought it sounded good. So I have the serum effect delay from there. So without any processing, it sounds like this. Very boring. And then I have two different delays. And then I have some EQing just to be safe, to remove some lows, even though there is none basically. And then I have another lead. Oh yeah, sorry. I said both were serum. It wasn't. The other one is from Spire. And the pluck chromatic. I just thought it sounded good. I'm basically using the same processing here. There is some delay within the plugin itself, and then we have the H delay from Waves, and it's a lot of delay, because it's very important, because it's not a lot of notes, you know, so it's and it's a lot of empty spaces, so the delay is really important here. And then I have the lead, the two lead pluck synths routed to a specific pluck leads bus. And here I'm doing some EQing again, just to make sure everything is removed. And then I think, yeah, I have some filter, you know. And this is because without the filter it sounds like this. This is too much highs. So basically I have a filter, and I open up the filter throughout the track to make it very interesting. So in the beginning it sounds like this. And then it sounds like this. You can see, and then I go down. So it like disappears and then it comes back. You know, just to make it organic. It's the same throughout the track, and you can see here as well. And what I also do is I have the enveloper and the room killer preset on the enveloper. And basically what I do is that, like here in the beginning, so basically what this does, it removes a lot of the room, the delay and the reverb. So I could have just like put on automation of all the reverbs and delay plugins, but as you saw before, I have like two delay plugins on each sound, and I also have one reverb on each sound, so that would be a lot of automation. So I actually made it an easier way, and that's just to put on an enveloper and have and I put down I basically remove a lot of the tail, because in the beginning here I want it to sound kind of dry. You can see it's still you can still hear the delay, but I want it to open up more throughout. So I open up the filter, but I also open up like the tail, the reverb and delay tail, and make it a little bit more open. And I do that with the enveloper. It's actually a great way. I love the enveloper. And also as you know, I really pay a lot of attention to details. And what I've done here is to add some ear candies. So basically what I've done is to, yeah, so I took this note here, put a bunch of reverb, bounced it, exported it, and then I put it in again, and then I did a reverse on the sound to make it like this. And I think I've done the same here. Yeah, I actually think I used Portal out from output and just did some crazy, yeah, some. Yeah, so this is from the Portal, output Portal. You know, I've used this before. So what I do basically is that I try a lot of different presets within this, a lot of different stuff, and then I export like 10 different takes, and then I just cut and use the one that I want basically. And in this case, it's like this. And then we have like this here. Yeah. And I think these are very important, you know. Yeah. So basically that's the lead sound, and it goes out throughout the whole track, and it's basically the same melody all the time. Like dee-doom, 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 dee-doom. And sometimes I have a little bit variation, like dee-doom, 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 dee-doom. Just some small variations, but it's basically the same melody. And what do I have more? Let's see here. Yeah. Let's see here. Yeah. So this one is very important, I think. It also goes throughout the whole track, even here from the beginning, but with a lot of filter. And it's basically just an ARP, 16 notes ARP, very easy, but it plays a huge role, especially like here. I can really hear it. Yeah. And then what do I have more? Oh yeah, this is in the beginning, like. Yeah. I think what I've done also with a lot of the synths, I used the track spacer and I sidechained the background synths and ear candies to the main lead, and I do this a lot just to make a bit more room for the lead plugs, basically. I think here is just yeah. I use the Gentleman from Contact. Yeah, just to give some nice ear candies and stuff. Yeah, and one thing also which is nice is I have like this like plucky, really easy pattern. It's very easy, but also nice detail. I think yeah, exactly. I have a filter. Here more in the beginning, I think. Yeah, just a small detail. Let's see what more. And then of course we have the chords. It's the chord with a lot of filters. Yeah, nothing crazy. And I think here is the pad. Yeah, same here. This is from a synth I bounced, I think, or maybe it's from a preset from a sample pack. I don't know actually, but just a nice pad to have in the background for some ear candies. And then what more? Yeah, same here. Just some pads. And these plays like a bigger role in like the breakdown when we have the chord progression. Oh no, here it's actually the same. Oh yeah, here, sorry. Yeah. So they play a much bigger role here in the second drop actually. Yeah, and what more? I think these pads are just some like atmospheric pads basically. I think here is just some more like atmospheric stuff. I can't actually hear them for some weird reason. Oh yeah, this one. I don't know why I can hear this one, but yeah, just some more like details and stuff. And like, and I think like what's really nice about this is how all the pads and stuff really builds up. You know, when the drums filters down and like the main lead filters down, I have these like pads which like filters up basically. I increase the volume, increase the. Here you can see I'm introducing the chord progression. And I think also what I have is, yeah, strings. Yeah, and it's actually pretty loud. To really like increase the and I think I actually did the automation within the plugin, then I bounced it, so it's actually, you can't really hear it, but it's very low in volume. But these are really nice to like increase the tension. Like I'm low cutting the kick and stuff. Low cutting, high cutting, so it really disappears. So, you know, it really transitions nice and smoothly into the break. Here I basically have the same sounds, but I'm just introducing the chord change for the first time, basically. This section is so beautiful. Yeah, and this piano here. And this is just Gentleman. I always use it for pianos basically. And just delay, some reverb, nothing crazy. And I think the Bloom, yeah, the grand piano preset, Bloom. As you can see, I love Bloom. I think this is a portal. Yeah, just to increase the atmosphere. And this I've used some preset on Portal, output Portal, and I bounced it and used it. Yeah, and I have this string pad going throughout the track. And here, I mean, this is such a delicate section. I think like here you can really hear this like, yeah, this like nature ambient kind of stuff. It sounds quite cool actually. Like water drops and stuff. And what more? Yeah, of course I have the vocals. And I mean, this is pretty easy actually, but it plays a huge role because I have this one here, like, and I have the supermassive, Valhalla supermassive, some EQing, I increase the mids just to make them more present basically, and some delay also just to increase the ambient, some filter, and then some small sidechaining to the kick. And basically I have only this sample for a long time to really build the tension, you know? Yeah, I have this a little bit in the beginning. But then in the second drop, it's like this vocal chops plays like a melody, like. So beautiful. Yeah, I think this is so good. And I mean, without them, there would be nothing, like. I mean, it's such a big difference. Yeah, so I mean, the second drop is pretty easy actually, but just because you have a kind of easy first section, like the first half of the track is pretty easy, the same tones and everything, no chord change basically. So once we get the chord change in the second drop, it feels so nice, you know? You've been waiting for it for like 4 minutes and then you finally get it, like. And I mean, that's a huge thing, like the tension and release kind of stuff, because like you're like building up, releasing throughout the whole track. But then, and you do that like all the time with the drums, like you put on the high cut on the yeah, like the low cut and stuff like this, and then you have you're building up and then releasing again, building up, releasing, but then you're also teasing like throughout the whole track. So it's like these micro releases, and then you have like this really big release in the second drop. And the way of doing that is just to not like give away everything from the start. And you do that in different ways. Like you don't want to introduce like the main instruments from the start. You don't want to introduce like the main melody from the start. You don't want to introduce like all the high frequencies from the start. You really want to leave something for the end of the track, because if you're like for the second drop, because if you just introduce everything from the beginning, like the main melody, the high frequencies, like everything, then you have nothing to build on, you know, like and I can be caught in that that plays sometimes also that I've introduced everything a bit too early, and I'm like, okay, how am I going to progress from here? And then I realized, okay, maybe I just need to scale back a lot of things instead of just adding stuff, because what happens otherwise is that you keep adding stuff and like everything will be just all messy. You don't know what to focus on anything. So like sometimes it's easier to actually remove stuff than just add stuff. So that's one thing that you can keep in mind also. And you want to have the listeners wait to the second break, second drop, like the big climax basically. And of course it depends on which genre you're making, but I mean this is an organic house track, so you want to really like have the listener wait. Yeah, so I think what's more, yeah, and then I have some small effects. Like I really don't want the track to be like it shouldn't depend on the effects, you know. The effects should only be like some spice to the track, you know. So it's nothing crazy. I have like these ambient, like nature sounds, as I mentioned before, and then I have some short sweep basically, and then I have this long sweep here. So I mean nothing crazy, and then I have this downlifter here. So you know, as you can hear, this plays like this is -40, this is almost minus 18. So they don't make a huge difference, you know. Just this spice up the track basically. Yeah, and as you can see, it's a fairly easy track, you know. It's nothing crazy going on. I think what really makes this track is like the drum melody, and then like the bass melody and how it's like plays with the drums, and like the chord progression, and of course like the main lead melody. So it's an easy track, but I mean all in all it's enough, you know. Sometimes less is more. Okay, I think that's it. Let me know if you want me to break down something more in details. Otherwise, have a good day.